And just like that, she's amongst us. Good morning, Rita. How are you doing? You
Good.
okay?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good. Yes, I'm here. I'm in one of those moods this morning, as you can probably hear. That song always amused me. How it got up the charts, I don't know, but it's one of those weird things. One more night. No. Okay. So you're all ready to go and full of the joys of spring. How was your week?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. I mean, just like everybody else, I've been taking some time to just celebrate Easter, have some time off. I mean, it's been a fantastic week of just connection, family, friends. Yeah, really good. Thank you.
Good. I'm pleased to hear it. Pleased to hear it. Now, do you have you're always busy. You're always busy. You're either doing some working out, some training, or teaching others, or go with the kids and stuff like that. Do you ever take time to do, like, for instance, knitting, maybe crocheting, maybe making aircraft? But what I'm saying is hobbies. Do you have a hobby? Because to me, this is like a hobby to me. And people go fishing, or maybe they go playing snooker, pool, whatever it happens to be. If you were to pick a hobby, what do you think it would be?
So I do have a couple of hobbies. It is not knitting or crocheting. I am very well aware, having tried those, that it is not a forte of mine sitting down for a long period of time trying to do something. That I tend to get far too itchy and sort of agitated if I'm doing that.
Right.
But
Okay.
for me, hobbies are really important because it's an expression of creativity that a lot of us are losing these days. So for me, it's music and dance. So I play the piano, I play the guitar, and I dance. So I go salsa dancing.
Not all at the same time, obviously.
I'm a one woman band. I am.
Oh,
I'll
of
play
course
on
you are. Yeah,
music,
that's a
studios,
stupid
but yeah,
question.
exactly. But for me, that is my time to express emotion, express how I'm feeling, express a side of me that is creative, and also, a passionate side of me. As much as I love working out and I love exercise and, I love running, these parts of my life still have quite a lot of structure around them. And structure is fantastic. Structure is necessary to be a disciplined type person. But equally, have a hobby such as dancing where my creative flow could come out, I would probably seek creativity in less helpful ways, i.e., I might search for more foods, more alcoholic beverages. I might search for ways to be creative which don't necessarily serve me. And I see this a lot with people where they have no outlet for true creative relaxation, that they then end up sat on the sofa in front of TV and looking through the sort of the biscuit cupboards or the wine rack to have a false perception of creativity in their life. So yeah, absolutely. Hobbies are so important, not just for the mind and the soul, but for the physical as well.
Well, we talked earlier about walking on the wild side, and part of that was creativity. And it was suggested that if people didn't have a wilder side, a lot of the things that are out there, the creativity, the inventions, these things that we now take for granted, mobile phone, all that kind of stuff, may not have come about. So rather than it become like entrepreneurial in the sense that there would be walking on the wild side and have a hobby to be creative for commercial gain, is it just as important to have that hobby for your own personal gain?
Absolutely. To me, a hobby is not something that should be mixed with professional or financial gain, because then it stops being a hobby and it becomes a profession. And when something is a profession, whether it's a career path or a business or an entrepreneurial streak, there is a certain level of pressure that gets put upon it. Because if you're doing something because you need to work your way up a career ladder, or you need to get a title, or you need to pay the bills from whatever that is, the pressure then negates some of the joy of doing it. And for me, something like dancing, I would never want to do it professionally, although I used to sort of teach salsa as a bit of a side gig. But it would never be a profession of mine because I enjoy it too much. And I wouldn't want to add any stress, pressure, or tension to something that really is a creative outlet. So it's really key for personal development. And actually, since the influx of technology into our lives, it's been shown that the human brain has actually slowed down. It's become less efficient, less productive. So it's key that we keep these things going for our cognitive health as well.
So if we just go back, we often talk about your kids and children a lot, and for older children, say from 10 upwards or whatever, and even maybe before that, my impression is they get locked away, or they take themselves away off into their bedroom, and and what it is they're on their iPad, or they're on their screen, or they're playing computer games with all, So to them, is that a hobby or is that detrimental?
I think that it can be both, and I think that applies to any hobby, depending on the extent that it takes over your life. My 6-year-old plays Xbox. I have no problem with that. If he played Xbox 6 hours a day, I'd have a problem with it. Right. But even with dancing, if I started spending 8 hours a day dancing, so the majority of my time on my hobby, it would be detrimental to the rest of my life. That's just a matter of fact. I wouldn't be spending enough time on my business, on my family, and it would take over. But dancing for 2 hours a week, well, that's a creative outlet that enhances. So just like with anything, whether it's food, drink, time with family, time with friends, time at work, everything exactly needs balance. And it would be foolish of me to sit here and say that computer games are the devil, and they're creating too much of a disruption in kids' lives or teenagers' lives, because there are also kids where they play it for maybe 30 minutes a day, and it's just that moment of release for them, just like it is for anybody else. But it's about moderation. But I think the one thing that we're seeing with this generation of sort of teenagers and children is that their parents, and I'm talking about my generation here, have lost the art of creativity. And so it's not being passed down to the next generation. Because what's happening is my generation is spending their entire time stressed, overworked, overwhelmed. I know a lot of people doing multiple jobs, caring for people. And so the kids, rather than spending creative time with their parents, drawing, reading, out in the garden, going for walks, whatever it might be, they're being shoved in front of a screen as a distraction technique, because the parents don't have time to look after them. And that's both on parents, but a lot of it's just on the societal nature that we're now living in, and the pressures that are put on people with the cost of living and the way that we've sort of built our culture up. So I wouldn't say it's the kids' fault. Kids nowadays are no different to kids 30 years ago. What they want to do is they want to be with people. They want to, go and play sports, tennis, football. They want to go to the beach with their family, but they're just not being afforded that time to do that.
Do you think that causes a disconnection in that regard then? So they become more reliant on the technology than the social interaction that should be automatic as the parent-child connection?
Absolutely. Kids are going on to computer games to find connection with friends, other people online, because children need love and connection. It is a fundamental need. They need to feel safe, that they're connected to someone or something more than just themselves. And obviously we try and give it to them as parents, but if they're not getting that from the parents, they're going to seek it elsewhere. And sometimes it can lead to fantastic friendships, clubs, all sorts of things. But sometimes it can lead to an unhealthy amount of time locked onto a screen, talking with someone on the other side of the planet who's playing the same game. So there are pros and cons all around, but children, just like adults, only ever do anything because it fulfills a need.
Yeah.
Of those needs, connection and love and safety are really key for, children and teenagers growing up.
So from your position then, from your health and fitness coach, and people think just when they hear those words, they think, oh, it's derived by food, it's exercise, it's losing weight and all the rest of it. But you encompass much more. Is your goal really just focused on that? Or is it focused more on the person and the ability to change their way of thinking? And by changing their way of thinking, it affects so much more than just the body. Ray from Stevens said, I got rid of my TV and now I do creative things for the same time we watch TV. Best thing he's ever done.
Awesome. And that's fantastic. I wish more people would take, Ray's path and do so, because every time I ask someone, how do you relax? 9 out of 10 people will say, well, I watch TV. Mm-hmm. That is someone's way of relaxing. That isn't actually relaxing, because true relaxation enables our mind to expand itself, to relieve itself of stresses of the day, and to actually create new connections, whether that's through creative knitting, dancing, singing, whatever. But most people, when they watch TV, all they're doing is distracting. It's not relaxing, it's distracting. And it's actually dimming our ability to make more productive, creative choices. And as a health and fitness coach, yes, go eat a salad. Yes, do some exercise. You don't need me to tell you that. No one listening to this needs me to say that a salad over a McDonald's might be a better choice. Mm-hmm. Information isn't a problem, but implementation is. People know these things, but don't implement them. And the reason that that's happening is because of the buildup of emotions and feelings that we have: stress, anxiety, depression, overwhelm, loneliness, isolation, sadness, grief, anger. All of these emotions create certain triggers, which then create responses. And those responses tend to be eat, drink, TV, Facebook, Instagram. All of these responses are essentially distractions from the feeling. Yeah. And what we need to do is essentially understand the feelings and the messages that they're giving us, and look for far more helpful and serving ways to respond to them than, wine and takeaways.
Yeah, all right. Although a bit of wine and a bit of pizza now and again doesn't do you know. It's just a little bit.
Not. Now and again. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, Rita, thank you very much for that insight again. Look forward to speaking to you next week. Wish you well for the rest of the week, and have a great day. How do people contact you, please?
So if someone would like to get in touch, the first thing I do is head to the website, which is thehealthandfitnesscoach.com, or you can email me, which is Rita, Rita, at thehealthandfitnesscoach.co.uk, or you can find us on Facebook, Rita Trotter, Instagram, The Health and Fitness Coach, or LinkedIn as well.
You are everywhere, all over the place, but in a nice way. I mean that in a nice way. Absolutely. Rita, thank you very much. We'll speak to you again next week.
See you then.
Ta-da. Bye-bye.